Again, not a big surprise with this pattern. We kind of indicated this back, I think it was about 4 weeks ago, that we'd have these little bursts of heat, but then the temperatures would be below normal. Remember, most of June, right? We've had a lot of cool days with the exception of the heat this past week. Of course, we are in the 60s right now. Normal high should be around 80. Of course, in the wake of all of this is the north-northwest wind if you're boating on Lake Erie. 4 to 6, even 7-foot waves today. Not a good day for boating. Tomorrow will be a little better. We do have the rip current advisories from the Weather Service because of the turnover of the lake here along the shoreline. Water temperature on the surface is at 68 degrees. If you follow me on Twitter, and if you're on Twitter, go to Scott Sabol Fox 8. Follow me on Twitter. I have a graphic showing you the water temperature number I like to use is the satellite-derived water temperature. Now, what does that mean? Well, we have satellites that can measure remotely the water temperature. Can measure a lot of other things too, but it gives you the average water temperature across the entire lake. The one number we've used historically is the one from the Northeastern Ohio Regional Sewer District, which is at a depth of 30 feet. Now, I sometimes don't like to use the 30-foot depth because we don't swim at that depth, but just to give you an idea, at 30 feet, the water temperature is like 50 to 52 degrees, but at the surface, the water temperature is in the upper 60s. So didn't want to confuse you there. That's why this water temperature is different than maybe what you currently read. All right, so we'll jump right to it. The muckleheads, haven't seen a whole lot of them, but with the north wind, you'll probably encounter a few of the mayflies here. Again, David Nethers had a great story on this. Go to fox8.com, and we talk about the muckleheads and the mayflies, a good sign of a very healthy lake. All right, wind gusts, 28 Cleveland, 23 in Akron. We've had those local gusts higher than that, so why is it so cool? Well, what happens is you end up getting a ridge of high pressure, usually centered over Canada, comes in on the tail end of the heat. The heat backs off west, you get a northerly wind, and the result are these type of temperatures, right? 50s and 60s from International Falls through Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, all the way up into New England. So not an Ohio thing, everybody. It's a part of something much, much larger. But you're also noticing the heat building in the central U.S. We'll start to see some of that slowly. All right, high today, temperature today of 67. Notice we don't have any rain in the forecast today. The wind gust forecast still highlights those gusts, you know, all the way through maybe early evening, and then the winds won't be as much of a factor tonight with lows in the lower middle 50s. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, cloud cover, a little cloud cover late with a high of around 72, and then the warm front comes in Monday. Wait for it right there. See how we start to see a few of those showers along the tail end of that warm front. We're not looking at major coverage. They should generally be light. We only got 20% in the forecast right now. We'll make adjustments to it, but that kind of leads us right into about a 48-hour period of hot weather again. 90s on Tuesday, nearing 90 on Wednesday, and then once again, just like it did last week, the heat backs off. The difference between the 90s and the cooler weather we have now in the 90s next week and what lurks behind that is that the cool down behind the 90s on the 24th, 25th, heading into next weekend won't be nearly as sharp. We're going from 90s to low 80s versus 90s to 60s and 70s. All right, so that's the general idea here. Rainfall forecast, below normal rainfall the next couple weeks, everybody, unless we happen to get a stray thunderstorm on Wednesday. We're not looking at anything widespread, so you won't have to cut the grass nearly as frequently. Keep the baskets watered, right, the garden watered, because it's going to be a less frequent chances of rain here on the 8-day forecast. All the numbers online, you can check it out at fox8.com. Have a good weekend.